Alright, time for some more. Draftphysics.com, debatephysics.com, but the debate is just one-sided. So, there's all these people who just keep saying they've done this and done that. And there's no evidence they've countered anything I said, and they don't even have the, integrity to actually answer any of my questions. So, although I go to the trouble to try to defend myself against their accusations anyway, most of them, and state why I believe what I believe and why I'm not convinced and all that crap. They do none of that. So, and they won't even admit simple things. Like if I ask the question, do you think if I had an electric drill in my hand and I started pulling the trigger, that as the drill goes faster and faster, I will use a quadratic amount of more energy to spin it? I mean, simple things like that. Do you believe that a turbine, in Niagara Falls, if I move it twice the speed, it'll make 4 times the electricity? Do you believe that actually happens? And they won't answer those questions because those questions reveal the truth. I mean, do you really think levers don't conserve momentum? So for 2,000 years, human beings thought levers conserved momentum. That is, whatever moved on this side would be equal to the momentum of what was moving on the other side. And now they're saying it doesn't. Do they really believe that? Do they really believe I can put a 1 mass with 1.4 the velocity into one side of the lever, and I can make a 2 mass go 1v on the other side? That I can make free momentum? Do they think that can happen? They don't answer these questions because they'd end up embarrassing themselves, frankly. All right, so anyway, so this, whatever this is, beat down kid, retarded fuckwit smelly ass, says, list of people who have had the patience to explain this to Draft Science himself. So there's nothing was explained by any of these retards, so that's just idiotic. Stephen Bro hasn't explained anything because he doesn't understand anything. Okay, anyway, who he mocked for being autistic. I mocked him for saying he had Asperger's. Okay, which is some bizarre manifestation of some sort of mental disorder where, oh, I'm just bored and selfish, and so I want to be indulged. I want to read comic books all day. I mean, come on, get real. You think there really is such a thing? I mean, that's another question to ask. Do you really think there's some sort of medical condition called an Asperger? Oh, fuck you. Too silly. I mean, everyone can have Asperger's. They just say, I want to quit having to have any burdens in life, and I want to do whatever I want. I want to fart when I want to fart. I want to do whatever the fuck I want. And I don't want to have to play by any fucking stinky rules. I don't want to wipe my feet before I walk into somebody else's house. I don't want to do nothing. Oh, that cunt is called, has a medical condition? Oh, fuck you. Anyway. Franklin who completely fucked up. So he's the one guy who made a video saying, Gary's right, and he, unfortunately, I had to discount it and say, well, fuck you, because you don't even understand the concept. So he doesn't know that something going twice the speed will roll on a floor 4 times as far, and he didn't even really get the whole 4 times the height to go twice the velocity thing. So he got 2 fundamental things wrong. Bring up physicist Michael is just evidence on my side, okay? I mean, why did the guy all of a sudden disappear? I mean, I pointed out he fucked the lever experiment on, the lever launcher. I mean, clearly fucked it on purpose. The one key experiment he was supposed to do, he puts a blob of clay between the carts. I mean, what the fuck? He turns an inelastic collision into an elastic collision and then pretends he didn't do that. I mean, it was, frankly, just fucking retarded. And then he was going to do this stupid free momentum experiment with a gigantic Newton's cradle, and did the experiment, never published the results because he said it moved too much, never redid it, never did anything, never explained his disappearance, just said, fuck you, I'm going home, okay, and didn't in any way acknowledge, okay, that he had engaged in a subject and now appears to be just running away. And that was okay with him. It was okay that everybody understood he just ran away. So again, these are the credibility of your witnesses against me. You lose. Ian Gosling did an experiment, didn't come out his way, wouldn't publish it. Okay, clear example. And then other experiments is explained to him that he's got the concept wrong, he doesn't care. So it keeps spinning levers or something. You explain to him, well, the lever's different when the fulcrum's in the middle than when it's hanging from the top. And, he doesn't want to hear any of these facts. So, again, useless. I don't even want to say anything about Valerie Rousseau. He has to use tactics like doxing. Why? Why would you inject that? So go ahead, explain to me, okay, beat down kid. Why would somebody do that? I mean, if they have a great physics argument, why would they bother harassing somebody by doing something you don't need to do? Like, even if it was just my own particular area. Like, let's say I was a cross-dresser or something, and I wanted to be called madam. And he wouldn't do it. I mean, in a physics argument. Wouldn't you say, well, why won't you do it? I mean, it's not a big deal. What's the big deal? You can't address him by the name he wants to be addressed by? I don't want to be addressed by my legal name because I don't publish under my legal name and because it violates security. I mean, it's just inviting people to do this Googling thing, okay, and find out information about the person and terrorize them with this information. Maybe even harass my neighbors. So why are you defending a motherfucker who has used to use these tactics? Why the fuck are you doing that? You're just as bad. You're putting his name down like this is a credible witness against me. His experiment I've demonstrated over and over and over again. Do I have to show you the picture again? I mean, really, let's do it. Let's show you the picture again. So this is what you're defending. All right, the first experiment comes out just perfect. The software works perfect. It initializes. It goes to 0 velocity. Everything's perfect. He lets go. It tracks the amount of energy. The second experiment, no clear track, no clear line of no velocity, nothing. Just absolute garbage as data. And you're defending that in your stupid fuck list. And then you bring up a dead guy from 2 years ago who, in his last message, said, "I really appreciated my dialogues with Inmendum." So you're basically just confirming that, okay, yes, as long as there was contention between me and Hathaway, but the fact is, Hathaway is the one who actually said the words. Unfortunately, he took the videos down, but he actually said the words. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that kinetic energy formula. As a mathematician, he said, I'm not sure of its credibility because he didn't know where it was from. And then Pirro, the weak ass who doesn't make any. Where's Pirro's argument? Where's a Pirro argument on any one of these subjects? Is there any argument be found from Pirro? No, there's no fucking argument from Pirro. There's no evidence from Pirro. Amazing. Beyond the last thing he said anything about physics was he thinks that I can put 10 springs on top of each other, and then I can put 10 pounds on the 10 springs, and somehow I can make 100 pounds of compression. Because each spring will compress with 10 pounds of pressure. So I'll be able to have 100 pounds of pressure in the 10 springs, with only using 10 pounds to make it. That's his theory. Do you think that happens? I don't think it happens. Do we have any real evidence? No. Did anybody push anything with 100 pounds of compressed springs? No. Okay, so anyway, probably others I'm forgetting. Yeah, you're forgetting Falwell. You're forgetting Dispar. I mean, there's 4 million shit experiments. What the fuck? Yeah, you're fucking the whole game. All right, and then he says he's also played the videos of, yes, and do you really think those videos are credible? You really think Veritasium proved that electrons travel outside of the wire? And that's electricity. Just because all motion of atoms expanding and contracting will create a magnetic field, that means that all electricity is conveyed through induction? Well, it's just absolute bullshit because wires melt. And they melt because there's a bunch of electrons moving through the fucking wire. Sabine Hassenfelder, what the fuck does she say? What's her fucking goddamn theory about anything? She's just a shit talker. So how the fuck is that relevant? And Walter Lewin, I've demonstrated, is kind of dicey, right? I mean, in one sentence he'll say nature can't finagle momentum, and in the next sentence he'll say, well, you put 200 momentum in, and you only had 1 momentum to start. So you had 1 to start. You had 1 momentum to start, and you can put 2 momentum into another object to make free momentum. So that's too stupid. And I've clearly illustrated the physics girl experiment is exactly what is on this board. Complete nonsense. I don't even want to talk about Ken Wheeler. You think Ken Wheeler's a credible person and talk about anything? He's a wooey religious kook. Professor Dave, when has Dave done anything relevant? When was the last relevant video Dave made? 1943? Richard Feynman. Again, Feynman can't even draw a two-slit experiment accurately to save his life. It's the dumbest, stupidest misinterpretation of the simplest experiment you can make. It's a very simple experiment, 2 openings. It makes a very distinct pattern. Could he draw that distinct pattern? No. So what the fuck are you doing here? What is your contribution here, liar? All right, liar kid. Okay, because that's all this is. This is a lie to say that any of these arguments are meaningful. You can't post a link to any fucking evidence for any one of these videos. Not one piece of fucking evidence. You're pitiful. All right, so anyway, fuel consumption doesn't scale linearly with energy dissipation. Whatever the fuck that could possibly mean. But of course it does. So you have no evidence it doesn't. It isn't perfectly linear. There's no evidence that consumption of fuel is perfectly correlated to the work done. No evidence whatsoever. All right. So this is a nice big long pile of shit. All right. What does evidence even mean to you? Question mark. It's an experiment. You do the experiment and you conduct it without cheating. You see this? Yeah, you conduct the experiment without cheating. Cheating. This is called cheating. Cheating. Yeah, you don't cheat. Yeah, that's what you do. Oh, you don't have things misaligned. You don't do obvious things like where you pull a bow back and then you pretend this distance is the same as the stretching distance of the rubber bands. Yeah, you don't do those kind of dumb things. All right, Gary, since you're reading this in once seconds, you talk about Brozosian garbage experiments. Yes. So because all 99% of his shit is shit, there can't be anything he did right. That's your argument, right? So because I say yes, most of it's wrong, not any of it can be right. Okay. I said right at the beginning, right when he did the experiment, I said I really like this experiment. I said right from the beginning. I watched it live, and I said right from the beginning, oh, I like that lever thing. I like the spring. I like this idea. Oh, that's kind of neat, cutting the ends off the balls. Come on, you fuckers. I was impressed right from the beginning. It was not like his usual shitty experiment. All right, but the next sentence you use his lever launcher as credible evidence. Yes, because it was credible evidence. It was a well done, well thought out experiment. I didn't even know about the glass he was using for a surface. I mean, yes, it was well thought out, well done. It's too bad he didn't use his sound idea to tell the distances, right? Because Brozo is a sound engineer in a lot of ways. And so, sound is a very good way to test velocity. If you don't have the other equipment, you can basically create a system where you're going to move something a distance, and you can make it make a noise at the beginning and a noise at the end, and you can, measure that time by just using sound software, which is very convenient. So Brozo, I never said Brozo never had a good idea, so you can just keep lying, you fuckers. Because that's all you can do is lie. But he's had lots of dumb ideas. And he's like his stupid spring launcher thing, his solder sucker. That was a really dumb idea. All right. So anyway, it's just bullshit to have to go through all this minutia. You can't produce any evidence. So all of this crap, and there won't be any evidence of it taking 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast. No, we're not going to see any of that. Okay, but in the next sentence you use, as evidence. You're begging for science to do experiments. Well, what the fuck should anybody who believes in science should do? That's exactly what you should be doing. You say, give me. Let me see it. All right, give me more evidence, better evidence. Let me see how this fucking thing happens. You're going to tell me photons are entangled? Well, give me a better experiment showing me a lot more detail than Alan Aspect ever showed. He just said so. Yeah, I saw a photon. I saw a photon over there. Yep, I compared them. Yep. I mean, what a pile of crap. All these say-so experiments. Anyway, you're begging for science to do experiments clinically with high-quality cameras, recorders, and multiple angles. Of course I am. Repeated in many different ways, changing many guests, etc. So what the fuck are you saying? Exactly. I'm saying that, and you people seem to be all opposed to that. None of you are saying that same thing. None of you are helping me get scientists interested in this subject. None of you are doing any of that. I'm doing it all. You're doing absolutely nothing to contribute to getting these experiments done by real scientists. All right, here he is an amateur. He was pretty bad quality with frames and skipping here and there, yet you used that experiment as solid evidence because of the fact that it was done better than his average experiment. And I said it right from the beginning. So again, you're just such a liar to say there's any hypocrisy. I noticed this experiment has a quality that the others didn't have right from the beginning, asshole. And top of that, every other experiment he has ever done is garbage according to you. I don't know, he didn't film some of them. So you know, it's hard to say, right? I mean, he did make the air track, and he made a cart that was a 1 cart, a 3 cart, and I think a 5 cart, and he couldn't get them to cascade with more and more momentum. So I don't know, maybe that was a good experiment, but he didn't show that one. Okay. Anyway, but of course the one and only experiment is credible evidence simply because it's closer. No, it's the only one we have. So again, just lie some more. Where do we have any other experiment doing a well-built lever launcher except for mine? I mean, I made one. Yeah, it was kind of sucky. I didn't have a high-speed camera. Didn't have this. Didn't have that. But yeah, it seemed pretty consistent with his results, I'll say. All right, that's how simple you are. So whatever, just lie. I mean, this is just lying. If you want to throw all of Brozo's experiments out, then okay, is that what you're conceding? They're all garbage? Then go ahead, throw them all out, and that'll be fine with me. If it comes close to your prediction, it's good. No need to change the variables. No need. Who said this? Where did I ever say don't repeat it? I was saying when he was going to redo the experiment, I was saying great. Where did I say don't repeat the experiment? Don't do it again. I was all for it. Where did he publish? He said he was going to redo it. He did redo it. We all know he redid it. And we know he didn't publish. So what are you talking to me about? The fact is his results didn't come out any different than they came out the first time, and that's why I didn't publish it, you jackass. So you're just such liars. I shouldn't even waste time. This is such a wasted time, you know, going over this minutia of how incredible these experiments are done by these people who don't care about quick releases, don't care about all of the things you're supposed to do. I mean, it just is really bullshit. All right, evidence is only evidence when you can repeat it, get consistent results, change variables, and still be consistent results. Yeah, well, so who's done that? Nobody's repeated anything. The Mythbusters didn't repeat anything. Nobody repeats anything. That's the whole argument I'm making. This is the shittiest science you can imagine. All right, you literally only have Stephen's experiment. This is the only case. Well, again, I did it myself. So again, you can keep saying it's the only case, but I built one, so I know for myself. You have to show that you can repeat this and get the same results. You say the science should have done tons of yes. So again, this is just. I'm sorry, but can anybody reasonable understand how irritating it is for somebody to lie so boldly about somehow that I have tried to suppress people from doing evidence, or I have somehow stopped people from doing these experiments? No, I'm all for more people doing the experiment. Please, if you can build a lever launcher, do it. I continue to say I think it's the best way to do any of these energy tests, because the lever has to move the same amount, so you're always going to lose the same energy out of the experiment. So in a lot of ways it gets rid of noise. It's a really good experiment. You know, when you do the masses exactly 2 mass, you know, a 1 mass to a 1/2 mass, or a 2 mass to a 1 mass, you know, that ratio. Yet you only have one piece of evidence to prove your model once and for all, and yet you're pure hypocrisy. So again, there is a piece of evidence, and you're saying you want to ignore it. So what the fuck? How can you claim hypocrisy when you're doing exactly the same thing, jackass? I mean, and what are your standards? I'm just saying my standards are, like I said right from the beginning, I don't see anything mechanically wrong with what he did. Do you see something mechanically wrong with Brozo's experiment? So if you can't isolate anything wrong with it, right? Like this bar's experiments, every fucking one of them has something mechanically stupid in it. Every single one. All right, the elastic Newton's cradle collision has been repeated, changing variables. Okay, so the elastic Newton's cradle collision. So this is Disbar's experiment. So only one person has done it, and he didn't do it with round objects. He didn't film it from straight on. He has a camera that stretches everything. Why isn't he still using the stretchy camera, right? Is he still using the camera that distorts everything? Anyway, different mass ratios starting with 1 to 1 all the way to 1 to 10. Literally all of them prove conventional science right. So this is just a lie. So this is obviously a smelly, stinking piece of human garbage experiment. So he's just going to give us this lie. This bar experiment is somehow credible. Look, he's got little things glued on here. They're not even really round. You can't even tell what they're really made out of. You know, they're probably glass, but that's fine. But it's all distorted. So what's the point? Look, where's the center of the frame? The numbers all change size. These numbers are different size than these numbers. The distances are different. This is, you know, at least 40% bigger. The distance between the two numbers is 40% bigger on one side than it is on the other side. You're telling me there's some reason to pay attention to an experiment this sloppy? Fuck you. No, there's no reason. And again, it's such a bold claim. You're claiming you can make free momentum. You don't see how that's just insane, that I could just keep doing this. I could just keep banging small thing, big thing, small thing, big thing, small thing, big thing, and just make more and more and more free energy. It creates a logical paradox that you haven't accounted for at all. So you don't have to account for any logical paradoxes. And it's a logical paradox. I'm just saying, you can't give me any reasoning to explain why I can't make free energy, that I can't make this a perpetual motion machine by just making it circular. Make the little thing hit the big thing, little thing, big thing, go all around a circle. It's just a pile of shit as an experiment. And you're too dishonest to admit that. All right, different pendulum lengths, different energy input. Yeah, but always the same shitty measurement tools. Always the shitty, you know, let's look at something that doesn't have the same measurements on one side of the frame. It's on the other side of the frame. Okay, yeah, it always is a magical coincidence that results match predictions. Well, match your predictions and match them only because the experiment can't be really rigorously examined. You can't examine the evidence. It's so dirty and cruddy and shitty. So if you can't examine it, then what good is it? If you have a picture of a knife from 15 feet away, maybe it's a plastic knife. Maybe it's, you can't examine anything from that distance. All right, anyway. There literally exists 0 examples of Newton's cradles, elastic collisions that come out your way. There's 0 examples of the experiment ever being fucking done where they measured anything. So what a lie. Of course there's 0 on my side because nobody's done the experiment except Dispar. Can you link to anyone else who's ever done the experiment and even ever attempted to measure anything? So until you can create that evidence, what the fuck? Obviously there's no evidence because no one's done the experiment. A basic, elemental experiment. You're supposed to be able to make free momentum and they've never done the experiment. That's what we're supposed to believe. Free momentum. Okay, I should be back. Yeah, I just wanted to might as well just quickly switch here. So, I probably should erase this so I can draw. But, yeah, I just want to point out. So, okay, so somebody sits in their chat, and so they steal my icon to use as their icon. So these are people, again, let's just understand. These are people arguing, against people who are just asking physics to explain itself. Challenging physics. So you make a physics argument, and this is the crap they have to do. I haven't seen flat earthers behave this way. I mean, who else on the internet actually behaves this way when you challenge them to defend their philosophical position? Until you get into some sort of, politics, Trumpian kind of bullshit or whatnot. Why would somebody do this over a physics argument? So they steal your identity, then they steal, then they make some clown, Gary Clown fucking screen name. Okay, so again, that's all bad on YouTube, that they let all these people make all these sock accounts. It's really disgusting. Anyway, and it says, still chasing after those 15-year-olds, Gary. So there's just absolutely no evidence in any video. Like, you go back 20 years ago, and I didn't chase after anybody. So there's absolutely 0 evidence that I ever made any solicitation to anyone anywhere near underage. Never, ever, ever happened. So they can make these accusations when they have nothing. I mean, there's zero evidence. I'm just saying there's zero evidence, and I'm willing, okay, perfectly willing to anybody who wants to really make this charge, as long as it's equal. I get to look at your behavior on the internet. That certainly I'll give you access. I'll let YouTube give you access to everything I've done on the internet. Okay, I mean, obviously you're going to have to pay for that information, but I'll give it to you if you want it, because there's nothing I'm hiding. I mean, yeah, there might be a private conversation in there, but it's not going to be with a 15-year-old. So you got no evidence of anything like this. So why are they, isn't this disgusting? And you people, you just don't do anything to stop this shit. You don't complain and say, okay, look, you're making us look bad. I mean, you're persecuting a guy for crimes he didn't commit over a science argument. It makes us look pretty goddamn desperate that we can't answer the question. We won't answer the question. All we'll do is try to do this shit, slander the person. But, what the fuck? I mean, it's really just such bullshit. Who should have to, tolerate this crap on YouTube? I mean, of course, nobody should have to. So what do I call this? Misinformation. Yeah, slander is what it is. Okay. Yes, he's harassing me. You fucking shit tube. Yeah. That's just so bad. Oh yes, please hide the user from my chat. That's all they'll do. That's the joke of all these fucking bullshit reporting things. You can't report anything. Nothing gets reported anywhere. They just keep doing this shit. It's just such a pile of nonsense. Oh yes, hide him from me, but let everybody else see him make accusations that I don't even know exist. Oh yeah, that fixes the problem. That's so much better. It's just such bullshit. I mean, these companies really should be sued because this is just bullshit. I mean, it seems incredible that just nobody. There's none. I just can't even understand how some freelance lawyer doesn't see it as kind of a good business tactic to say, yeah, let me find some of these people being really abused by these big corporations, and let's take them on. As it seems very fertile ground from my perspective. There's real common law and real law that basically says you can't do this on these mediums. So this isn't your right. These are real crimes. You can't make these false accusations with this kind of density, let's say, because it's just not a rare event anymore. It's just, like I said, I mean, I really had no public exposure under my real name. I mean, it just isn't anywhere. It's in 2 newspaper articles in the last 20 years, you'd say. And the only thing that makes my name public on the internet is all of these people who have doxed me. So it's just the doxers who are making my name accessible, and accessible in more than one place. That's all they're doing. It doesn't exist any other way. And again, this is over physics arguments. Amazing bullshit. It really is amazing bullshit. Yeah, it's amazingly. I mean, it's just such bad form, and you're just saying this is. I always had some suspect. When I came online, and there was this whole thing called the atheist community, and I found its behavior kind of deplorable and disgusting. Kind of amplified by the amazing atheist. These nihilist pigs. And they didn't seem to have any principles or give a shit about anything. So it wasn't about being anti-religion. It was about being anti-decent. That's why they hated religion, not because it was a fable, but because it imposed some standard of decency. And they just didn't have any interest in being decent people. And that's the real tragedy, is that's what physics looks like. It looks like just a bunch of nihilists. And they just care about playing this elitist game that they know better than you know, because they know some math tricks. They somehow know the secrets of the universe, and they don't know shit. They're worse. They're in a worse position than the flat earthers, because they actually do believe in hobgoblins and pixies. I mean, their whole narrative about how the universe works is so upside down and back assward. So anyway, yeah, whatever. So he's yes, thanks for the defense, but yeah, no point. Now, but it is just like I said, where can't they just make a physics argument? You write a paragraph of physics and you say make a physics response, and they can't do it. And that's what's being revealed out of all of this, is that they just can't respond to the simple claim that their theory is phantasmagorical nonsense that can't be defended with any kind of rigorous evidence. And they just won't admit that fact. I mean, it's a glaring fact. Okay. Turn that back on, right? Oh, didn't turn back on. Interesting. Maybe some asshole. No, it's still there. Yeah, there it is. I don't know why it didn't play. I mean, I don't know why it didn't show. But whatever, not my problem. And they've never done the experiment. No, that makes you worse than a flat earther. So he says you're worse than a flat earther. No, your people are worse than flat earthers because you believe things that are sillier. Free momentum is an impossible concept. You're an idiot. Okay, that's the truth. Let's see if there's anything else here. Let's see. How many times does it have to be repeated, you idiot? Doxing is not allowed here. So let's see if he did it again. 10 minutes ago. Yeah, let's see. 10 minutes ago. Let's see if he did it. Okay, so there's no doxing, but let's see what he says. So this is Valerie Rousseau talking through this fake account that he's pretending is somebody else. So it's just so damn fucking funny, his dishonesty. So he can't even be honest about this stupid sock account that he's using. So he's going to pretend that this is somebody else other than Valerie Rousseau. Okay. Oh, so you're admitting that you are indeed Gary. So where did he admit that he's Gary? So again, it's just, this is so lame that they actually think, okay, that I, right in front of Reddit, while I'm telling Reddit I'm going to sue you, so right when I'm saying to the company I'm going to sue you, all right, that I would have a fake Reddit account, and Reddit somehow wouldn't know. I mean, I'm going to go to a federal fucking court. I'm going to waste a ton of time and energy to sue this fucking corporation, and you think, okay, that I'd have a sock account in that circumstance. Man, you're really dumb. Yeah, that's really funny. Okay, so it says, you are admitting that you're indeed Gary, which is, it's just so, anyway, which proves that, as usual, you had lied when you claimed earlier you were not. So here's what he said. I'll read what he says. He says, how many times does it have to be repeated to you, idiot? Doxing is not allowed here. For that reason, your comment will be deleted. Where is the experiment where you were going to demonstrate using rubber bands? Please demonstrate how 4 times the force gives you 2 times the velocity. So he's doing it with a nice air track, a nice, pretty clean way to do the experiment. And we already know, okay, rubber bands aren't perfect in the sense the faster you push something, they lose a percentage of their energy, but it won't be nearly enough to destroy the fact that 4 rubber bands is going to make more than twice the velocity. Anyway, and so he says 9 times the force gives you 3 times the velocity, and so on. So this is the very argument being made. Why wouldn't this guy be allowed to repeat my argument? Stop wasting time doxing and provide an argument for how 25 times the force will only produce 5 times the velocity. Yes, show a piece of evidence. Again, how many times does that have to be said? Does these morons think I could put a generator on my bicycle, for example, and I could spin the wheel twice as fast and I'll get 4 times the photons? Or I could spin the wheel 3 times as fast and get 9 times the photons. I'm 4 times as fast, get 16 times the photons. No, I can't. Can't do that. It doesn't work. They know it doesn't happen. That's why they say, they're not conceding, well, gee, yeah, we should be able to get that experiment up and going, up and running. We should be able to prove this. This happens millions of times every day. Why don't we, sure, we should be able to prove this. So why can't they prove it? But they can't prove it because it doesn't fucking happen. That's the simple answer. And no electrical device works this way. No electrical device uses 25 times the energy to move 5 times as fast. It just doesn't happen unless you're using a sander or something. Something where you're creating friction. But anyway, where in that comment does he indicate he's me? Oh, that's right, nowhere. So look at the time wasted by these fucking asswipes. I mean, this is just a grotesque waste of time when this is the best they can do. I wish I could scroll this, but apparently I cannot. That's the wrong thing. Let's see. Yeah, I can't. You can't get to see the whole comment because I can't scroll this fucking thing. Let's see. Ah, there. That's better. All right. All right. So anyway, so he says here. Oh, so you're admitting. So there's no admission. So what the hell is he talking about? So anyway, to answer your question, I've already proved that true rubber bands. So we already know. It's not about what you already proved. It's about what you claimed you were going to show, which is that 4 rubber bands, and that's the experiment you were supposed to do in the first place. So he claimed he was going to do it, and now he's claiming he's running away. Just like physicist Michael, he's running away from the experiment. He claimed he was going to do it, now he's not going to do it. And we know the reason why he's not going to do it is because he had to cheat to do the other experiment. He couldn't even get the other experiment to work without cheating. All right. I've already proved, so he says he proved it with the cheat experiment. So let's just show it again. This is how dishonest these fucking pieces of ragged shit are. I mean, I can't make this any fucking clearer. I mean, anybody who has any fairness, anybody who knows anything about how computer software works, how experiments work, there's no way you can defend this, right? You know this is how the software initializes. It initializes with a straight line. It finds there's zero velocity in the world. It's sensing nothing. It has a nice flat line until it senses motion, and then it starts. When the motion starts, it does something. Clearly, the second trace has nothing to do with that function, what it's supposed to be doing. It's supposed to look like this. It is not supposed to look like that. And I can't believe anybody would defend this. That if I produced an experiment with bullshit results like this, and I only did one trial, that you would say, yeah, those are great, credible results. I mean, this is so dishonest. I mean, this is a core concept. I mean, this is worse than Lewin's clay by a long shot. Because everybody does, in fact, know this makes doubt. This is a doubtable experimental measurement by obvious and gratuitously in-your-face reasons. It's obviously not correct. Anyway, I can't believe these people are just so dishonest. I already proved, you didn't prove shit, that 2 rubber bands leads to 1.4 the velocity, which is enough to prove you wrong. So again, we're not allowed to see this 9-3 thing, or the 4-16 thing, or the 5-25 thing, or the 10-100 thing. No, we don't get to see any of these outrageous claims ever produced as evidence. Ever will it be produced, because it doesn't fucking happen, and this is what they call science. This is credible science. It happens millions of times a day, but we're not going to show you it happening even just once. What liars. All right, prove you wrong. It implies that 4 rubber bands lead to 2 times the velocity. So again, he's not going to do the experiment. He already did it, and he knows he can't cheat. He's tried to cheat it. He said, oh, fuck, I can't cheat this one. It's way too obvious. It doesn't work. So anyway, 9 times, 3 times velocity. I told you that I will do 4 bands. Well, where? I get to it already. So what's the? Why did you just talk this shit? Why did you talk this shit? If you're going to do it, just do it. And I will do it when I have the time for it. So he's had 3 weeks, but whatever. Who cares? You didn't decide. You didn't decide of my schedule. I do. You don't decide my schedule. I do. Well, whatever. You're the one who claimed you're going to do it. So what the fuck? What's the big deal? Okay. So then I'm just saying, then we'll have a real piece of evidence either about his integrity or and the integrity of science, frankly. Because, frankly, you have to cheat. There's no way to do it otherwise. He's going to cheat the experiment, and we'll have the hard evidence. We have a physics professor cheating an elemental experiment. And then I have to go to the bother to, manufacture a credible version of the experiment. By the way, we haven't heard any response to this new proof you are ridiculously wrong. So let's see what the new proof is. I'm sure it's a pile of shit done by a shithead. So it won't be from a physicist. It won't be a physics video. So what's this one? Peter Steinberg? Who the hell is this moving? Who's this Claude? What the fuck is this? Measuring at home the acceleration due to gravity. This has nothing to do with an actual experiment that measures anything. You didn't measure how much fucking guy. It's his own idiotic video. I already did a response to this. This doesn't have anything to do with anything. What the fuck are you talking about? There's absolutely no evidence here that twice the velocity is 4 times the energy. This experiment doesn't show that. It doesn't prove that. It doesn't in any way indicate that. There's no evidence of energy in and energy out. There's no measurement of anything. How the fuck could this moron say this is a video that somebody has to respond to because it proves mv squared? It doesn't do that. And again, I could just keep pointing to the video right up there. Okay, so you see the little car moving above me over there? Well, that experiment completely debunks his experiment. All right, so this experiment up here, this proves it right here. Okay, 4 times, same energy. Both carts are got the same fan pushing the same air, and 4 times the heavy cart goes 4 times less as fast. So it's perfectly linear outcome. The light car goes 4 times as fast, 4 times the velocity as the heavy cart. Perfectly matching what you would expect from basic momentum, and no sign of kinetic energy anywhere. So lie some more, Valerie. So amazing that he posted a link to a 2-week. He said this video. You haven't heard this proof that you are incredibly wrong. Why haven't you responded to this new proof? There's no new proof here. It's a 2-week-old video that I responded to with, what the fuck does this have to do with this subject? Absolutely nothing. Oh, amazing. Just amazing shit this guy publishes. Just amazing. Alright, so where are we? Yeah, so I think that's it for this subject. So it's just these, obviously they're just not going to respond to any of these arguments because they can't. That's the simple truth. They can't manage a response that's relevant. So it's really sad that this new post I did, yeah, there's nothing relevant here. What the fuck is this? It's some asshole's picture. It's not a video, it's not a statement, it's some asshole's picture. What the fuck is it doing here? Why do people think this is the way you make physics arguments? And so what's the other guy said? The note at the bottom read like manifesto. Yeah, well, I'll read it at what's at the bottom because it's relevant to the subject. You people have, as a cabal, decided that people can't even make these. They can't argue this physics. You won't let them. You'll play a game with karma and all kinds of things and try to shut people up, and that's what you're for. You're for silencing people. All right. So Red has unjustly banned the person who originally spoke this taboo paragraph. And let's understand, they knocked it out of 2 rooms. So, wherever you publish this, they'll just say you can't publish it. And then you publish it in your own room, and they'll annihilate the room and your account because, they can't just kick it out. And I will not allow him to respond to comments on this platform, even though users on this platform routinely dox, slander, and harass him. And that's what, I'm just saying, the medium is covered with it now. I mean, I can type stuff into the search and you can find all kinds of crap where people somehow have the right to reference me and I'm not allowed to respond to any of it? That this fucking medium thinks I should be banned, not for doing a single thing wrong. So I'll never be proven that I did a single thing outside the boundaries of a reasonable interpretation of the terms of service. I didn't violate any terms of service. All right, and they think they have a right to talk shit about me, and I don't have any right to respond? And that's what you're voting for, you fucking little shit. That's what you're defending, you piece of crap. All right. He will, in fact, respond to all relevant comments on YouTube platform, but no link will be provided, as Reddit may imply. That is a rule violation. So eventually, okay, that's what we're going to do. We're actually going to start posting the video responses. And we'll see if Reddit decides that, okay, we're not going to let you respond to any of this. Because that's what it all smells like. Why were the 2 accounts destroyed? 2 accounts were destroyed on Reddit for merely posting this content. Now, why is this content still up? I guess the only reason why it's still up is because I'm not responding. Yeah, right. So as soon as I'm allowed to respond to this inane nonsense, then all of a sudden it'll have to be destroyed. Is that the obvious implication? What's your explanation for that, Mr. Fuckshit? Mr. Cardiographer Fair? What's your fucking explanation for why two people were banned for life for posting nothing other than this exact content? Oh, that's right. You're not going to have any explanation. Yeah, you're not even going to answer the question, you weasel. God, these people are so despicable. All right. So, 12. Yeah, that might have a couple. 17. I don't remember 17 being there. I was just here, right? Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, it didn't seem like there was that many new comments, but I guess so. All right, anyway. Yeah, so I'll call this a video for now and go to the other subjects when there's more action and such. All right, should be back. All right, so, yes, so there was the rude, obnoxious accusation by the sock account of Valerie Rousseau. Okay. And so the brutal psychic guy says, again, I'm not draft science. You can easily check my account and see I've had the account for 3 years. So yes, they really believe I would have an account with some other name for 3 years and then all of a sudden use it to post draft science stuff. I mean, it's just such a stupid accusation. All right, and so just basically saying, yes, you didn't prove anything. Draft science has pointed out the flaws in your data, okay? And it's both these experiments. One experiment, there's no flaw. It's just it doesn't prove anything. I mean, pushing carts at an acceleration, no one's disputing the acceleration. No one's disputing the velocity. You're the one claiming that twice the velocity is 4 times the energy. There's no evidence that it took 4 times the energy to make twice the velocity. So that's all bullshit. All right, anyway. So then this Lucius bed, whatever that is, here. So he has a link. It goes 5 rubber bands and nicely follows the square root relationship, not linear. But it doesn't matter because it's a dispar. It's a dispar video. Yeah, okay. So this is the standard. So you're saying in 350 years, regular physics can't produce any of these experiments, and only dispar is capable of doing these experiments well and rigorously. No, I don't think so. So it's just such bullshit. It's just bullshit is what it is. And so he has a nice little icon like this is, like he's going to do a real quality experiment, and afraid not.
Hello everyone, and welcome to
and so the fake voice
Energy Lab video. In this video, we're going to do
all right. So yes, there's rubber bands. Okay.
By square root of 2, 3 rubber bands by square root of 3.
Yeah, whatever.
2 poles.
All right. So let's see what the experiment is. So he's got a metal rod with weights on it. So we'll have to figure out why he chose the weights he chose. Like, why not just use a metal rod? Why do you need to put weights on it? It's a good question, isn't it? Oh, yeah, it's a good question. And then look at it, it's got this strange taper to it. So what the hell's that about?
Position. The pendulum will
go
through the timing gate, and on the display you can see the time.
So he has it so it doesn't go. It's not on the rubber bands going flat. So where the pendulum is up and down is where the detector is. Now those detectors come with this suggestion that you use a little card. You're supposed to make the timing gate thing, the thing going through the timing gate as big as possible, because it increases the accuracy. The smaller the thing going through, the less time it has to measure the time. So you want to have as big an object as possible going through the timing gate. And so he has pretty much the smallest object possible. I mean, he could put a thin wire through, but I mean, and it's round and shiny, so it has a lot of disadvantages in terms of the actual timing gate being able to function well with those things. But anyway, let's just see what else he did.
Let's begin. I'm releasing the...
All right, so he's using his fingers again, so there's no quick release. All right, and he's pulling it back at an angle.
Pendulum, letting it slide of my fingernail each time.
So yeah, off your fingernail. So what this whole idea that you can't possibly do some kind of better quick release is just sort of bullshit. But whatever. All right, so he's got the rubber band wrapped around 2 clamps. All right, and in a position, and then he pushes the thing back. And, you know, I mean, it'd be better if he just did this with a straight angle, because the whole point is what you want to do is really take the angle of the motion. If you know the angle, then you can know the height. You know, those are mathematical guarantees. And the angle's easier to measure than the distance, frankly. Oh, what's this shit? So he always does this kind of crap. Yeah. So the numbers are 80. I can't see that. Is that crap on my screen? Or I guess it's crap on his screen. Let's see if we can do this in slow motion. So it's probably shitty frame rates. Hard to tell how much distortion there is in this camera view. It doesn't look that bad, actually, compared to his other camera. So I don't know what camera he's using. So he's got his hand up at the top for some reason. Like he has to catch it for some reason. What's the worst it can do? Is bounce off the rubber band? I don't know. So, oh yeah, no chance frame rates. So this is the slowest speed. And, you know, it's all blurry. So yeah, his frame rates are going to be impossible. So, yeah, that'll be a waste of time. Okay, so... anyway, let's just play this part. Let's see if we can get to 2 or 3. So let's just check that number once more. So it was 235, him moving it back. And that's, yeah, that's an 8. Alright. Well, okay, let's just move through. So yeah, I don't know what the corny music's for. So now we have 2 rubber bands, and that's 60. So it's not even close to being twice as fast. So 80 to 60. $61. Okay. You know, but who knows? So let's see further on. Let's get to more. So now he has the rubber bands, but you can see there's a whole bunch of them on here. So it says 4. So I don't know why he has them spaced. Can you see this shit? Yeah, you can see that. He has them, you know, I could zoom in. Yeah, I could. He has them, like the first rubber band was down here, and now he has the other rubber bands going up higher and higher. Now the simple truth is you know, because he's sloping it, I mean he's pushing the thing back this way, so it's turning. The fact is, the higher the rubber band is, the less it's going to be compressed. So the higher you go, the less the rubber band is compressed. So he probably shouldn't have done that. The rubber band should be more, you know, they should all be on top of each other here. They shouldn't be staggered on top of, you know, one going up higher and higher. So that's an error. And, you know, like I said, the pendulum angle, this is, I don't know why he's doing this angle thing. I mean, he should pull them back when it's straight. So that should be up and down. Straight up and down should be where he's pushing to, and then he's releasing. So I don't know why he's pushing back up the hill. It really isn't going to matter, because obviously the weight coming down is going to create some momentum, but it's not that much. But that's why he has the extra weight, probably, is because it adds a little extra motion. Well, it's not the, I'm just saying it's not the way I would do it. I don't think, and you can kind of see, I mean, this is 5 rubber bands. Well, yeah, they're going higher and higher and higher, which means they're less and less, there's less and less pushback, because the stick, this is going to be further away from here than this will be from here. So the rubber bands are less compressed the higher he goes. So that's a mistake, I would argue. Let's see what kind of number he got for the last one. Okay, 37. So he started with 80, and with 5 rubber bands, he's only to 37. So whatever. Okay, so this is what he's saying. He's proven a fact of physics. And I'm going to argue that, no, when this experiment's done right, it's going to be demonstrated that this is bullshit. So whatever the bullshit is, like I said, I don't know whether the rubber bands being higher is the whole bullshit. I don't know why the weight is on the bar. I don't know why he's putting such a small device through the timing gate when he could put a thicker device going through the timing gate. So these are all legitimate questions. I mean, obviously you're pushing the timing gate's ability, right? It's 0.00 and then a number. So these are thousandths of a second. So you'd have a much bigger reading if you used a bigger object going through the timing gate, obviously. And then we don't even get to see the rest of this pendulum. We don't even know how it's actually, how much friction there is in it or anything else. So, but okay, it's all right. So this is another one of their pieces of garbage experiments. So he's done experiments where he's claimed he's created free momentum. So in this case, he's saying he's proving that it actually does take 5 times the fuel, 4 times the fuel to go 2 times as fast. And so we'll just see. We'll see if somebody else can produce an experiment that'll conflict. I'm back and such. I could probably just slide this out of the way, but I guess I'll do this instead. So he does this experiment. And on the surface you say, oh, okay, that's okay. But, when you start thinking about it, there's all kinds of different ways you could have done it. I'm just saying, okay, now if I was to duplicate it, what I guess I would do is I would have just used a ruler, and you put a little hole in it, a bearing, okay, that it can easily rock on. All right, and just trying to think of, maybe even put a washer on it so it can't wobble much, and put some oil on it so it's nice and slick and it can move freely. And then just use the ruler, okay, to compress the rubber band. And right, you would compress the rubber bands by, having the rubber bands, going across the middle, and then, pushing your ruler into the rubber bands. This would be forward of the rubber bands. The rubber bands would be forward of the ruler. So when you're pushed back, the ruler would be straight up and down when you're at your maximum, the amount you're going to shoot it. And so you have it so it's nice and straight. There's no arc, so you're not changing how much compression is in the rubber bands. All the rubber bands would be compressed at exactly the same amount. Let me try to redraw that. But so, yeah, I just thought of it. I just said, this is a kind of a simple experiment, right? So, and you just have a stop, so you make sure you do the same pullback each time, and then, especially because he has the timing gate. Now I have to make something with sound, I guess. To do so it has to trigger a sound. It makes a sound when it goes through, when it takes off, and then it makes another sound, when it swings out to some location. Yeah, but twice the velocity is still going to be, well, it's not going to be twice the distance in the same time, so that won't work. Yeah. Twice the velocity ain't going to go twice the distance because it's going up against gravity, so yes, it's going to slow down at a different rate. So yeah, I can't use distance. So again, I'm still stuck measuring the arc or the angle, which seems reasonable. You just put a protractor on here, and you can get your angle. There's probably another way. I can think of another way to measure the velocity. See, as you go uphill, you're going to change how quickly it, the time, with the increase in the velocity. I think. No, the same distance over the same time. I think the distance will be the same. Yeah, so I think you can do it. All right, I'm just not sure. All right, but the idea would be is the post of the rubber bands would be here. The rubber band would go around here, so you get the idea. It comes in from the back, and so when it's perfectly straight is where the rubber band is compressed, and you have some kind of little stop here so it can't go back any further. Maybe you put a little string on here through a hole, and then you can just cut that string, or just loop it through and then hold it and then cut it, and then you can just loop the same string through and cut it. You could reuse the same device multiple times. I guess you don't even need a hole. You could just go right around the ruler and make a little quick release, and then you can put your second rubber band on, and you're guaranteed in this case, by doing it this straight way, you're guaranteeing that the amount of compression in the rubber bands will be the same. So even if they're stacked higher and higher, the amount of compression in them will always be the same for each rubber band. So it makes for a better. Now, even better for this experiment for him is the fact that the timing gate, okay, which is going to be here, this surface is a very consistent surface. So the same surface will be going through the timing gate each time. And so it's going to be a pretty good measurement. It's much thicker than that little tiny bar going through. He's going to have a much thicker thing, so it's going to get a much more accurate time. You know. So yeah, that's the way I should do it. Right? This is kind of doable, right? So I was also thinking of twisting the rubber bands like one of those old style propeller airplanes, you know, where you just, you know, the propeller, you just wind the energy into the rubber bands, you know. Now the only difference is that they end up rolling, the rubber bands end up rolling over each other. So with two rubber bands, maybe it gets thicker here, and maybe that's actually more tension. I'm just not sure of that. But that would be another test, you know, so you could just turn it the same number of times with two rubber bands or three rubber bands and see if you don't get a higher velocity out of the propeller. So instead of a propeller, you just put a disc or even a ruler, you know, anything balanced that can spin, and you just see if you can spin it twice the velocity, or see if it spins twice as long, something like that. Yeah, so that's good enough. So at least this is, I mean, it's a fair diagram of a way of doing the experiment. I think that it should be within my means. Again, it's just I have to figure out how to measure the time. That's the tricky part, the velocity. But I might be able to do that with a camera I have. Yeah, because it's such a quick event, I should be able to use the little high-speed thing and do the whatever. I should be able to get 600 or 700 frames a second anyway. Let's see, the comments today were so bad, nothing credible linked. Yeah, I mean, they were just bad comments. Yes, unfortunately, you can't have it all. Yeah, we can only do our best, and they don't do anything. I think the current question is you know, there's some questions that are just really important, and this is a really important one, this idea of free momentum. This idea that you hit a light object into a heavy object and you get all your energy back, a perfect reflection, and twice as much energy goes into the thing you hit. I mean, that as a concept has to bother you people. I just can't imagine somebody not being bothered by that idea that somehow twice the energy goes into the object I hit and I get all my energy back to do it again and again. And again, 264 times. I can keep doing the same thing. How can somebody believe that happens? I mean, that one looks so simple, right? I mean, how can people believe that? I mean, let me draw it. I mean, I don't have to draw it because I already have it drawn. But, I mean, come on. So this was today's questions that we got nothing. We got absolutely nothing today about this. And it's just so simple. I mean, the simple idea is you can have a little pendulum. You can get a solid steel surface here, and you just let the pendulum go, and it'll bounce 200 times. Let's just say 200 times. It'll bounce 200 times. I mean, some of the bounces will be really tiny, but it'll bounce 200 times. And each time it bounces, they're saying that each hit moved the Earth or moved something with twice the momentum. Twice the momentum went that way, and I got all the energy back this way. It went all the way back up again and did it again. Then it goes all the way back up again, does it again. You know, it's only 99%, but it's close too. How can anyone think, yes, that's a very good answer. I find that totally understandable. That makes perfectly good sense. I mean, even Lewin, when he draws it on the board, he says, you know, with this, I would argue that there's already, I already have that. I'm going to give you a sleepless night. That's his whole argument. You go think about this. What does it mean? How the fuck could this be true? And then he doesn't answer it. He just leaves it that way, because the reason why he doesn't answer it is because there's no good answer. There's no way to answer this that makes any sense. If I move the whole Earth, well, then I use the energy. The Earth moved. I used the energy. It went from this object into the other object, and the Earth moved. And how did it move with twice the momentum? Who the hell knows? But the fact is it moved. Therefore, I can't get 100% back. I can't get 100% reflection. If I throw a tennis ball at a brick wall and the bricks move, I'm not going to get 100% back. You know that. I mean, people have to know this. I mean, how come this argument should just be over? I mean, you should just admit that, okay, I get it. That part of physics doesn't make any sense. They got to clean that up. You can't make arguments in physics that don't make any sense, and that doesn't make any sense. And so let's start over and make all this stuff make sense, because that doesn't make sense. Yeah, I saw where he said he's going to do the video, but he's already said it before. You know, oh, taking screenshots is hilarious. So I took a screenshot of him saying he's going to take screenshots just because I find that so hilarious. Screenshots of what? You telling him you've been repeatedly told something very simple, that this room doesn't allow doxing, and you just keep doing it. So how stupid are you? Is there any reason why you need to dox somebody in a physics argument? Well, of course there's no reason. He doesn't publish any physics under his legal name, so why are you using his legal name? I mean, that's not even a tiny bit difficult to understand. And he just keeps doubling down on it like it's somehow his right to do this doxing thing. And these people are defending this moron as being your representative right now. This is your representative of physics right now, is this sicko. So you have this sick professor, and they're all, you know, supporting him essentially in his moronic babblings and ramblings. And then I don't see anybody saying, would you just tone it down a notch, loony? Could you make a physics argument instead of all these pointless shots about whatever? You know, and again, this is a guy talking about inappropriate behavior with women. He has a video where he's showing a man chloroforming, you know, putting chloroform over the face of a woman. That's his icon. He has another icon of a woman who's going to sit, you know, she doesn't know a man is lying doing weights, and she's apparently going to sit on his face, and he thinks that's good stuff. Yeah, so okay. And I'm the one who's inappropriate. He's married with kids. And that's what he's posting on YouTube. And he's going to point a finger at me. Is doing something inappropriate? I'm not married. I don't got kids. I can whore around. I never have, but I could. All right, anyway. Just amazing bullshit. All right, so, yeah, that's probably enough for now. Back to the video. And such. Yeah. I guess do experiment right up here. Right, this experiment up here isn't indicating this problem because the object that's 4 times as light is moving 4 times as fast. And by going 4 times as fast is somehow has, okay, 16 times the energy, you know, which it doesn't have. But all right, interesting enough. But I think it will be eventually debunked as garbage. So we started with 84 to 88. I didn't see the 88, but okay. So almost 90, you could say 90. And then you're only getting 60, so that's only... yeah, I don't know what that is. The 49 is pretty close. But 43, yeah, so 4 rubber bands at 43 would be it would be perfect, right? Just about. But is that believable? The weird one is here, 3 to 4 rubber bands. You see this tiny difference? I mean, is that really believable? You go from 3 rubber bands to 4 rubber bands, and look at the tiny difference. Only 6. I mean, that looks a little bit funky, don't it? Well, it looks a lot funky to me. And what, 3 rubber bands came up with the same answer every time? 49? Yeah, okay, that's interesting. And 4 rubber bands was 43 each time, each trial? I mean, let's go back to 4 rubber bands, I guess, right? Well, let's see 3 rubber bands. It was the same each trial? 49. 48. Well, yeah, so it wasn't the same. Okay, 50. All right. So I don't know why he did the range on the other ones and then no range on this one. But whatever. Whatever. This is just kind of weird, right? Why did he do a range for these other numbers and then no range for these others? I don't, what's that about? But obviously that does look a little bit funky. 43 to 49. But anyway. Yeah, so we'll see. Like I said. I mean, eventually I'd like to do the experiment, but I just have to find a good way to do it. A better mechanism than his. Let's just put it that way. A lot better than his. Alright, I'm still here. So I did look at it again. Alright, so I probably should have left this enlarged. Because you can sort of see what when this is pulled back. Let's see. Yeah, you probably can't see that. Gotta make it even bigger. And I'll never be able to make it small again. Alright, so you can sort of see it there. So this part here, you can sort of see that with the rubber bands bunched up, they're all, going across this whole, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's more than a centimeter of rubber band thickness here. And so obviously the rubber bands on the top, because of the slope, are compressed less than the rubber band at the bottom. The bottom rubber band has got more tension in it than the top rubber band. So, that's sort of a downside here, is that, he has these rubber bands layered at different heights. And because he's pushing the thing back at an angle, that means those different heights will be different compression. So again, if he would have done the experiment with the rubber bands, compressing here, like the rubber band starts here, and then you push it to straight, that way all the rubber bands would have the same exact tension on them. But because he's doing it this way, they have a different amount of tension on them. So that's a defect. Like I said, I can't say how big a defect it is, but it's a defect. And again, the tiny amount of the small bar that he's pushing through the timing gate also just makes it a little suspect that you're really pushing the capacity of the timing gate to accurately measure the time, merely because it's such a small object you're putting through the gate. But anyway, Oakley enough. Alright, this should be back. So this is on the ballistic pendulum video. Now, I don't think I did this. It says edited a day ago. I don't remember whether I did this or not. This has the springs in it, so I don't think I did, because I would remember that, I think. But anyway, I can always argue springs forever. There's lots of things about springs to be argued, and rubber bands. But anyway, put a spring between two 5-mass blocks. I assume that's what it means. When the pink, I don't know why it's pink, 5-mass block hits one end of the spring, it starts to slow down because of the center push applied by the spring, the counter push. So again, you're saying the spring applies a counter push. I'm arguing, obviously, that it's just accepting being compressed. It's absorbing energy. So if you're going to argue, maybe I'll draw this. I think you're just falling way short of recognizing what hard elastic things do. And in hard elastic cases, there isn't any slowing down and speeding up. Now, in levers, you could argue that, yes, whatever deceleration happens on one side, and acceleration happens on the other side of the lever. So there's that inverse relationship. But in elastic collisions, hard elastic, I don't think there's any chance that's what's happening. All right, so let's just try to illustrate what he's saying. So this would be nice if people could do video exchanges in this manner and actually draw what they're arguing and then counter-argue with drawings. It would be so much better than, the fact that none of these people can manage to make a video and draw. None of them can draw anything. All right, so he's saying we're going to have two blocks. Who cares the color thing he did? And they were just a spring in between them. All right, so one of them has motion. And we're going to have an elastic collision where this one's going to slow down and stop, and this one's going to speed up and go. And the simple argument is, you know, especially when you can see it in Newton's cradle with the hard objects, there really isn't any speeding up and slowing down. And I would argue that what's really happening is the same thing that happens when you put weight on a scale. When you put weight on a scale, where is my scale? Scale, where are you? Never answers. You know, when I ask him to answer, it just never does. Scales aren't very smart. All right, never mind. But the simple truth is, when you put something on a scale, what's it doing? Well, it's absorbing energy that won't be felt by the ground. So the initial amount of energy isn't felt because it's absorbed in the spring. So it's absorbing energy. You can't deny that it has to absorb energy. And if it absorbs it, that means that the energy can't be doing two things, right? You can't compress the spring and push on the ground. You can't do both things with the energy. So the truth is the spring compresses and this object doesn't feel anything for a while. So it's not until the compression gets to be substantial enough where the force starts to push the other object. But it's, you know, it could be a billionth of a second that process takes. So, you know, it doesn't mean much to argue about it. But the spring is actually consuming the momentum. It consumes it and stores it. So if it's being stored in the spring, it can't also hit the other object. So when the scale absorbs some spring energy, when it absorbs your gravitational energy and you stop, that little bit it absorbed was never felt by the ground. The ground can't feel the energy that compressed the spring. It can only feel the weight after that holds the spring down. The holding weight the ground can feel. It doesn't feel the compressing weight. I don't know why I drew that so small, but whatever. So, yeah, I could draw that bigger then. You know, so if you have a spring and you're going to compress it, all right, the energy that compressed the spring, the simple argument is the energy that compressed the spring isn't felt as a force here. That force is now in the tension in the spring. That's where the force went. It got used by the spring. So it's still there in the spring, and it won't come out of the spring till you let the spring release. But the energy is in there. So this is another one of these arguments where you can't heat the bowling alley and knock down the pins. Okay, so you can't, the bowling ball can't knock down pins and then knock down more pins and then knock down more pins. It can only knock down one set of pins. So you can only use the force by compressing. If you compress the spring with the force, you've used it compressing the spring and it's in the spring. That's where it's stored. So it can't be doing stuff somewhere else. It can't push other things. So the initial compression of the spring, in the case of the moving object, that consumed a tiny portion of the linear motion. A tiny portion. That's the wrong way to say it. And it used up the entire impulse of the object, got its zero momentum, and then the spring's compression, expansion, is going to release that energy. But that's what has to happen, is first you have to store the energy and then release the energy. You can't avoid the storage process. The compression is the storage. This doesn't move. This doesn't move until it expands. All right. I think that was clear enough. Yeah, not perfect, but clear enough. All right, I'll put this back. All right, applied to the spring. The orange, so we have orange and pink for whatever reason. 5 mass block must experience equal push in the opposite direction. So it doesn't experience an equal push until after the spring expands again. The spring has to release the energy for there to be an equal push by the spring. This results in the pink block losing velocity at the same rate that the orange box gains velocity. So that's what I'm saying isn't true. That's true on a lever. So if you're playing with a lever, you can't alter how fast one side moves and the other side moves because it's a rigid stick. But the spring isn't a lever. It's storing energy. Levers don't store energy. They just directly convert it. Springs store it first and then can convert it. You can store the energy and then shoot a light object. You can do lots of things with springs. You can store the energy for 10 years and then release it with their storage devices. Very different. Anyway, at some point, both objects must have equal velocities of 5v. Now, that's the lie. No, there's no such point. Okay, so your say so. I'm saying that's completely incorrect. There's never any point where both of them have a velocity of 5. Doesn't happen. Since the spring compresses because the initial velocity difference between the blocks. Now you want to consider it's fine. Obviously they have a component of their vector that is different, and the spring again is going to store that difference. Some portion of the difference the spring is going to store. So if it's an impulse, then it has to store the entire difference, and then it releases it. The disappeared kinetic energy is now in the compressed spring. So that's a complete made-up canard. There's no disappeared kinetic energy when they both have the same mass. So I don't even know what you're talking about. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. What disappeared? You're saying there's mv and you're squaring the v, and you're using the same exact mass as shooting off the other side. Well, it's the same squared v. Where's your disappeared kinetic energy? So what are you even talking about? Doesn't make any sense to me. All right, anyway. This is silly, yeah. If you don't believe this is the case, yeah, I don't believe, okay, that if the